Darkness falls, but beauty still lingers in the shadows. A city draped in silence holds secrets that refuse to stay buried. Every corner whispers a story, every shadow hides a face we cannot yet see. The night is alive, restless, waiting for the moment when truth and betrayal collide once again. The screen begins with total blackness. Slowly, a faint glow of streetlights breaks through. Rain falls gently, first in scattered drops, then harder, tapping on forgotten alleyways and slick pavements. The city is awake but hushed, like it's holding its breath. A neon sign flickers in the distance, casting red and blue glows across cracked walls. The lights fail to stay steady, and the flicker feels like a warning dot in the silence. Footsteps echo. A figure walks past, hidden in the dark. We never see a face, only the outline of a long coat brushing against the wet ground. A cat darts across the street, breaking the stillness, its eyes glowing for a second before vanishing into the mist. The figure stops, frozen. The air is heavy, as though the city itself knows something is about to happen. From another corner, faint whispers drift into the air. They are not clear words, only fragments of thoughts carried by the wind. She knows. It's not over. Watch the shadows. The whispers fade, swallowed by the hum of a passing car. The headlights slice through the mist but do not reveal the figures. Face, the sound of a clock tower rings out in the distance. One chime, two, three, each toll spreads through the city like a heartbeat, louder with every strike. Between the rings, silence stretches uncomfortably long. It feels like the city is counting down to something inevitable. Then, the scene shifts. We see glimpses of a woman's hand holding a black rose. The petals drip water, as though the rose itself is weeping. The camera lingers on the rose, then cuts to another hand placing a sealed envelope on a table. A single candle burns beside it, flickering against the walls. The wax drips like seconds running out of time. The sound of thunder cracks suddenly, shaking the silence. The city lights flicker off for a moment, plunging everything into darkness. When the lights return, the envelope is gone. The candle is blown out. The rose lies on the floor. Crushed. The camera pans back to the empty street. The rain has stopped, but the silence feels heavier than before. A single sentence forms in the air, as if whispered by the city itself. Every secret finds its way back to the surface. The screen fades to black. Asterisk, the silence does not last. The screen bursts open with a flash of light, and suddenly we are thrown into fragments of lives colliding, torn apart and reconnected by secrets too heavy to keep hidden. A door slams. A scream echoes in the distance, swallowed by the pounding rain that has returned harder, angrier than before. A pair of hands grip the edge of a window, trembling, desperate, as if holding on to the last piece of hope. The scene changes quickly, cutting between shadows and faces we still cannot fully see. A woman wipes away tears with shaking fingers. Her breathing is sharp, uneven. Across the room, someone watches her in silence, their figure hidden behind glass streaked with rain. The tension between them is so thick it feels alive. She whispers something we cannot hear, and then the sound of glass shattering explodes across the screen. The music begins to build low at first, like a steady heartbeat, then louder, faster, urgent. The screen flashes with moments of conflict. A man slamming his fist against a wall, a letter ripped in half, a picture frame falling and breaking into pieces. The fragments of glass scatter across the floor, reflecting flashes of lightning. In those reflections, for only a moment, we see eyes staring back. Eyes filled with anger, sorrow, and betrayal. The story begins to unfold through these quick glimpses. A hand reaches into a drawer and pulls out a hidden box. The box opens, revealing an old photograph burned at the edges. The image is faint, but enough to hint at connections that were never meant to be uncovered. A voice low, almost broken, whispers from the shadows. Nothing stays buried forever. Then silence again. A sudden pause, as though the world has stopped moving. A single candle burns in the darkness, its flame steady this time, refusing to flicker. The camera zooms closer until the flame fills the screen. Out of that flame comes another rush of images. A woman running down an empty street at night, her coat flying behind her. A man standing in the rain with his head bowed, his shoulders heavy with secrets. A pair of hands clenching together so tightly that blood begins to drip down. Every shot screams of choices made in desperation, choices that will not be forgiven. The music climbs higher, strings slicing through the silence like knives. The heartbeat sound grows louder, stronger, until it is no longer just a beat, it is a countdown. The scene shifts again. We see an abandoned house, its walls cracked and covered with shadows. Inside, the floor creaks under invisible weight. The camera glides through the rooms, showing scattered objects, a broken mirror, a shoe left behind, an old diary with pages torn out. The diary flips open on its own, the pages fluttering wildly as though a storm is trapped inside it. One word is written over and over again in red ink. Trust. The storm outside roars louder, shaking the house. Lightning strikes, and for a split second, a masked figure appears in the corner. Their presence is sudden, jarring, like a ghost stepping into the world. The lightning fades, and they vanish just as quickly, leaving only the echo of footsteps behind. The music cuts suddenly to silence once more. The screen turns dark, but a whisper slides through the void. Every choice has a cost. And now the cost must be paid. The darkness lingers for a moment, pressing down like a weight. Then the camera pulls back, showing the city once again, alive with lights but empty of voices. The conflict has begun, and it is clear that no one will escape without scars. The section closes with a sharp, thunderous sound, followed by a single haunting image, a woman's hand reaching for another hand in the dark, but before they can touch. The screen cuts to black. Asterisk, the black screen lingers for a beat too long, almost as if daring the audience to breathe again. Then an explosion of light. The screen floods with sudden motion, fragmented moments of revelation stitched together like broken glass. These are not slow glimpses anymore. These are flashes of raw truth, crashing forward in a storm of images too quick to fully understand, but sharp enough to wound. The first image, a woman standing under a single street lamp, rain pouring down around her. She does not move. She stares at something or someone just beyond the edge of the frame. Her shoulders tremble not from the cold, but from what she sees. Before we can know what holds her still, the scene cuts. Next, a man running through a deserted alley, footsteps splashing in puddles, his breath ragged, his eyes wide with panic. His hand clutches something tightly to his chest, something wrapped in black cloth. The camera follows but never reveals what it is, letting the secret burn in the viewer's mind. Another cut, the masked figure, now clear for the first time. Their mask is not polished, but cracked, jagged, as though it has been broken and mended many times before. They stand in silence at the top of a staircase, watching unseen. Their presence is cold, like a shadow that has taken human shape. They tilt their heads slowly, and the screen shatters into another sequence before we can look closer. The flashes grow faster. A car speeds down a road at night, headlights slicing through fog. A pair of hands slam against a locked door. Someone screams into the silence, but no sound escapes. A diary page catches fire, flames swallowing words before they can be read. The pace slows for just a moment, allowing us to see a reunion of man and woman facing each other after too long. Their eyes lock. The air between them shakes with everything unspoken. They take one step closer, then another. For a heartbeat, it feels like forgiveness or perhaps love. But just as quickly, betrayal cuts through. The screen flickers, and suddenly one of them is holding a knife. The tension is unbearable, and the scene cuts away before the blade falls. Now the music swells, deep, sharp strings twisting into a storm. The flashes turn harsher, louder, more violent. Someone falls to their knees in the rain. A hand drops a gun onto the ground. Another hand picks it up. A door opens to reveal a figure no one expected to return. Eyes widen. Gasps fill the air, though we never see their source. The screen slows again, as if gasping for air. We see only a close-up of someone's eyes, wet, burning, filled with rage. Then we hear a whisper, faint and chilling. When the past returns? No one is safe. The music rises to its highest point, a clash of sound and silence before crashing into another storm of images. A man shouts words we cannot hear. A woman throws a glass that shatters against the wall. Someone is dragged into the shadows, their hands clawing desperately against the floor. Another person stands on a rooftop, staring out into the night, as if searching for freedom in the endless dark. The sequence grows more frantic. Clips fly across the screen in a blur of chaos, rain-soaked streets, doors slamming shut, candles blowing out, shadows crawling across walls, the masked figure standing closer than before. Every flash is a piece of the puzzle, but none of them fit yet. The tension twists tighter, forcing the audience to hold their breath, then stillness. The storm halts. Silence rushes in. One final image remains, a pair of hands opening the black cloth from before. Inside, resting on a velvet lining, is something that makes the air itself heavy. An object that ties them all together, though we never see exactly what it is. The cloth slips to the floor. The camera pulls back, and the figure holding it whispers one last line. It was never about beauty. It was always about survival. The screen cuts to black. Asterisk, the silence hangs like a blade, sharp and unbearable. The black screen lingers for a few seconds, long enough for the audience to feel the emptiness pressing in. Then, slowly, a faint sound begins. Drip, drip, drip. Water falling, echoing as if inside a hollow chamber. The sound grows louder, faster, until it becomes deafening. Suddenly, a single candle ignites, its flame fighting against the dark. The camera circles the candle. Wax drips steadily, each drop hitting the surface like the tick of a clock. In the shadows behind the flame, shapes move, flickers of figures we cannot fully see. They breathe, but they do not step forward. Their silence is more terrifying than their presence. The flame shakes as if it knows it will not last long, then the strike of thunder splits the silence. The candle extinguishes. Total darkness, a beat of silence, and then chaos. The screen explodes with rapid cuts of climactic moments. A woman running barefoot down a hallway, her hair wild, her face hidden in shadows. A man slams open a door, revealing a room filled with shattered glass and overturned chairs. The masked figure stands in the middle of it all, head tilted, unmoving. Like a statue that should not be alive, the music swells into a furious storm strings, drums, and a low pulse like the earth itself is trembling. Each beat matches an image, a gun raised, finger trembling on the trigger. A woman screaming silently into the dark. Two hands reaching for each other, but never touching. A mirror breaking, showing a reflection that isn't the same as the one standing in front of it. A single black rose falling to the floor. Petals scattering like pieces of a broken promise. The music crashes, then cuts off completely, leaving only the sound of heavy breathing. The camera zooms into a pair of eyes, wide, afraid, filled with the weight of everything we've seen. A whisper breaks through, quiet but haunting. This is only the beginning. Silence again. The screen fades to darkness, but the darkness doesn't last. A sharp flash of light cuts across the screen, bold and violent, as though carved into the night. Letters form slowly, glowing with power. Beauty in Black Season 2 Part 2. The title lingers for only a moment before a final image bursts through, something brief, shocking, unforgettable. The masked figure steps into view, closer than ever before, their cracked mask inches from the camera. They raise one finger to their lips, signaling silence. Then, in a single instant, the screen goes black again. The silence is absolute, and then, just before the end, a single heartbeat sounds, slow, heavy, promising that what comes next will be darker, louder, and more dangerous than anything before. The trailer ends.